breaking news.
And we do begin with that breaking news. Right now, the search is on for a gunman who shot a Hillsborough County deputy.
This happened near Greystone Road and Williams Road in Thonotosassa. As you see there, you see officers getting ready to hold a news conference. We're expecting to get an update any minute now. We want to listen in and see exactly what the update is.
Whenever you're ready, if you want to introduce yourself and just give us a little bit of a play-by-play about what happened out here this morning.
All right, Colonel Donald Lazinski with the Sheriff's Office. Shortly after 12:30 this morning, our deputies received a 911 call about shots fired in the area of 9411 Greystone Road. Deputies responded to the scene and began looking for the source of those shots. As they were out there looking in the area, they observed an individual as in front of a number of duplexes. As they began approaching that subject, the subject turned on them and fired upon all three deputies. Our deputies returned fire. Unfortunately, one of our deputies was shot in his thigh. Fortunately, although it was a very serious situation and the deputy could have been killed, he is in stable condition and expected to be released from the hospital shortly. Right now, we're currently processing the crime scene, conducting interviews, and looking for the suspect that's involved in this incident.
Do you know who the suspect is?
At this point, we don't. It's still very early in the investigation. We're still interviewing our deputies and walking them through the scene. Our first priority was to make sure that they were safe and that the individuals in that neighborhood were safe as well, since that incident occurred in a residential area.
Did deputies return fire?
Yes, all three deputies returned fire on the subject. We don't know if the subject was struck or not at this point, at this time. And again, we're asking any of the individuals in that neighborhood, if they see anybody suspicious or something unusual, to please give us a call.
Do you know why they were pursuing this person in the first place?
We responded to a shots fired call. Somebody called 911 that there were shots out there, so we were out there to try to see what had occurred.
What, if anything, has been the most challenging about the investigation so far?
Just honestly, the safety of our deputy, to make sure that he's safe and sound and that nobody else in that neighborhood was harmed, because there was fire returned by our deputies and the suspect shot numerous rounds.
Is it safe to be in that neighborhood right now?
Right now, we have a lot of resources and patrol personnel and detectives out there, so it is safe. But again, if anybody sees anything unusual or suspicious, contact the Sheriff's Office immediately.
Any kind of description?
At this point, it's very early. We don't want to release something. We're still, again, in the process of interviewing our deputies.
What can you tell us about the resources utilized in this active search?
We've had our canine deputies, aviation, numerous patrol deputies out there, as well as detectives and personnel patrolling all that area and making sure the crime scene was secure and a perimeter was set up.
What message do you have for people that are just waking up and going to be trying to navigate this area this morning?
We still will be out there. They will be able to come in and access the area freely. They may be stopped by a deputy just to, some of the roads are blocked off at this point, and expect to see law enforcement out there. We're going to keep the scene secure to daylight so we can, again, get a better look at the scene when it's completely light outside.
Can you tell us more about the deputy? How long has he been a deputy?
The deputy's name is Scott Ranney, R-A-N-N-E-Y. He's been with our office since 2009 as a detention deputy, and then in December of 2014, he began as a patrol deputy. So he's been with our office for several years.
Is his family with him?
His family is with him and aware of the situation.
Can you tell us more about his injuries?
It's an injury to his left thigh, shot there.
And you said he should be getting out of
He should be being released shortly. Very fortunate for him and our law enforcement family.
And none of the other officers were injured in any way?
No other officers were injured, and as far as the suspect, we don't know at this point.
What do you want to say to the general public about this person still at large that you're looking for?
Obviously, he should be considered dangerous. He had, the wherewithal to shoot at three deputies that were just responding to shot fire calls, so he is considered dangerous. So again, if they see anything suspicious or unusual, to please contact us.
Can you tell us about the circumstances?
We're still in the process. It's a very large crime scene, and with the darkness, we're still processing the whole scene.
You talk about that this is an area that's kind of mixed use. There's some residential, but it's also kind of industrial and rural.
The area where this occurred, it was a number of duplexes. There was about 4 duplexes, and it occurred in front of those duplexes.
Any roads blocked right now?
There's deputies on numerous roads, just keeping a perimeter, but certainly the Greystone Road is closed at this point in front of that location.
When you say a very large
It's just a few minutes. It's right around the corner.
When you say a very large crime scene, how large are we talking about?
Well, we always go bigger just to make sure that we've got everything contained, so probably a half block.
Are you pretty confident that the suspect is still in that area?
At this point, we don't know. We have the area secured down, but we don't know if that person got out of the area before everybody else responded.
And what can you tell us about the circumstances were the officers ambushed? Did they see this man coming?
They saw a subject in the street in front of the duplexes. As they began to approach them, he turned and fired on them.
All right.
And do you anticipate being in the area or roads remaining blocked off for the next several hours? Or
We're going to be in the area through daylight, but people should be able to travel fairly freely with the exception in front of those duplexes.
Can you tell us about the deputy's recovery? I mean, you mentioned that he might be released shortly, but I'm assuming he's not going to be back on the job.
Clearly, he's going to have to continue to see doctors. It still is a serious wound, and there's always a concern about infection. But he will be released, and we'll be monitoring his continued improvement.
And you mentioned his family's with him. Can you
Correct.
share any details about his family?
We're not going to do that. All right, thank you, guys.
Next, we'll sit down another briefing in a couple hours unless there's anything new or if we've made an arrest. Otherwise, just look for the media alert.
All right, you've been watching a live update there from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office on the search for the suspect who shot a deputy early this morning out near the general area of I-75 at Fowler Road, really more specifically 301 at Fowler.
That deputy was shot in the thigh, as you heard in that news conference there. The deputy is okay. He's in the hospital right now with his family. Should be released sometime very soon. Again, this could have been much more serious, but right now the deputy is okay and is expected to be released very soon.
And the important thing is if you live in that area, lock your doors, lock your windows, because there is a suspect on the loose who has no problem shooting at a law enforcement officer. He shot at 3 deputies, hitting one of them, as Dia mentioned, in the thigh. So be careful out there, and we will, of course, keep you updated throughout the morning here at ABC Action News.